Hello, I'm Gordon Lang, editor of CameraLabs.com. I'd like to give you a brief video tour around the Olympus SP-550UZ. Here it is, the 550UZ. It's Olympus's latest ultra zoom camera, and by ultra zoom they're really not kidding. Where most rival models would top out with maybe a 10 times, a 12 times, or if you're really lucky a 15 times optical zoom range, the SP-550UZ beats them all. This camera has nothing less than an 18 times optical zoom range, and that's the world's biggest right now. But unlike a lot of rival super zoom cameras, which are compromised in terms of wide angle coverage, the SP-550UZ wins there as well. A lot of cameras with this kind of zoom range, or close to this kind of zoom range, can only zoom out to an equivalent of say 35mm. Not so with the 550UZ. This can zoom out to an equivalent of 28mm, which can make all the difference if you're shooting a big landscape, an interior, or if you're doing a group shot and you simply can't stand back any further. But it's when you zoom this camera in that it's just absolutely remarkable, and unsurprisingly the barrel does extend quite a lot when you zoom into its maximum telephoto, but you can get just so close to your subjects with this kind of setting. Obviously with this kind of focal length, any camera shake is going to be magnified though, so Olympus combats that with image stabilization. Unlike a lot of rival models which fit it inside the lens, the SP-550UZ's image stabilization is actually built into the body. It moves the CCD sensor while you're taking the picture to counteract the wobbles. We've got a demonstration of that in just a moment. Obviously, as a modern camera, it's got a nice big colour screen on the back. There it is, a 2.5-inch model. Unfortunately, it doesn't flip out and twist, but you can't have everything at this price point. What we should mention though is that there's absolutely no compromise in terms of build quality and comfort. The 550UZ feels absolutely fantastic when you pick it up. It's a very solid camera, and Olympus has coated almost the entire front surface along with the thumb rest here in a really tactile rubber material. It just feels very secure in your hand. But now, to see a demonstration of that 18 times optical zoom and the image stabilization, let's go outside. We're outside with the Olympus 550UZ, so the first thing to see is how long it takes to power up. I press the power button, and about 1.5 to 2 seconds later the camera's ready for action. So here we are, completely zoomed out as wide as the camera will go, and you can see straight away that it's a lot wider than most compact cameras let you go. The 28mm wide angle really is very useful if you want to capture big landscapes. But of course the thing that makes the 550UZ really special is how close it can zoom in. So here we are zoomed all the way out, and now let's zoom in as far as the camera will allow us. And you'll notice the little dot in the middle of the screen, we're going to aim for that. That little dot is now nothing other than quite a large steamship, but you'll notice at this zoom range I'm shaking a lot. But of course the other special thing about the 550UZ is its anti-shake system. Now this activates when you press the shutter release button halfway in, so let's see how effective that is. So with the shutter button pressed halfway, you can see straight away that the anti-shake system is working very, very effectively. If I let go of the button, you can see I'm still shaking a lot. So let's zoom all the way back out again. Now, like most cameras, you can overlay various graphics on the screen. If I press the display button here, the first thing you'll see is a grid. That helps you with alignment. Next up comes a live histogram that you can see at the bottom of the screen here, and this shows the range of tones in the image. Press the button again and you can display various shooting information. Now if you want to make any adjustments while using the 550UZ, you just press the OK function button here and it brings up some graphics on the screen. Here you can adjust the white balance setting, maybe to daylight, cloudy, indoor. We can adjust the ISO. You can see it here running from 50 all the way up to 5000 ISO. The drive mode, and also the metering mode. The SP-550UZ is undoubtedly a very impressive camera. The highlight is of course the 18 times optical zoom range, and it's great to be able to go out with a single compact camera and know you can shoot everything from wide landscapes to zooming all the way into very distant small details. Speaking of small details, it's worth mentioning that the lens can also focus as close as 1 centimetre in macro mode. So to have this degree of flexibility in such a small compact product is really handy in practice. And as you saw a few moments ago, the image stabilization is very effective, and as we mentioned earlier, the build quality is also superb. So, what's the downside with the 550UZ? Well, when you've got an optical zoom lens of this kind of range, there's inevitably going to be some quality compromises, and we noticed that there was an above average amount of coloured fringing on the 550UZ's images, especially when you zoomed in to the maximum telephoto and when it's a very bright sunny day. Also, we noticed that some of the images were slightly softer and less vibrant than a lot of consumer compacts, although this is something that you could correct in software later, or even by tweaking some of the internal settings, maybe make the contrast or the saturation a little bit higher. We've got sample images from the SP-550UZ at cameralabs.com, so pop over there for a visit and see for yourself whether the images are exactly what you're after, or if they're maybe not quite what you're looking for. One thing's for certain though, no other camera offers this kind of zoom range and this kind of close-up capability in this kind of package. So if you're after a very compact camera with the biggest zoom range in the world and effective stabilization, then the SP-550UZ is the way to go. To see how it compares against rival models, and again to see those sample images, check out our website, the full review, at www.cameralabs.com.